Alrighty, so my name's Allison.
I'm Christina.
And I'm Erin.
And the book we chose was The Shape of Things. So this book is pretty much a book about shapes. So the author uses shapes to create different images such as houses, ships, boats, things like that, so that kids can see that shapes are connected to other things. The person that wrote the book, her name is Dale Ann Dodds. She's written over 20 different children's books. She writes lots of books with lots of math connections.
So the Virginia SOL that we connected to were first grade, 1.1, where they identified, trace, describe, sort shapes by the number of sides, angles, and vertices. And then 1.2, they construct a model from the shapes, and they have to be able to tell what they had made from the shapes. And then we also use the Common Core standards, which is the 1.1, where they have to distinguish the attributes of the shapes and be able to build and draw the shapes. And then 1.2 is create 2D and 3D shapes to create a composite shape and create new shapes from the composite shapes.
So for our math lesson, the objective would be for students to use pattern blocks to create two-dimensional figures. So when we go ahead in the beginning and activate prior knowledge, we'd want to ask them what shapes they already know, and if they review the shapes of the triangle, the circle, the square, rectangle, oval, diamond, which all show up in the book, and ask them to locate some of those shapes in the classroom. In the middle, we would start with the book. So they've gotten the prior knowledge of some of those shapes, and now they're making the connection to the book, The Shape of Things. And that could lead into a class discussion into how those shapes created the different pictures in the story. And at the end, we would have students use the pattern blocks to create pictures on their desks, kind of like you can see in the picture there provided, that they're building a little man with a hat with those pattern blocks.
So for our global connections, for the global understanding and recognizing perspectives, we said that all students learn the shapes, even though they may learn them with different names in different countries. In our schools, we have a lot of English language learners, so they could help teach our students the names that they learned when they were little, such as in Spanish, cuadrado is a square in English.
What we would investigate is how are shapes being used around the world. So we would investigate it in other languages, such as Spanish, French. We could get this book in another language, such as Spanish. And then what are the words used in different languages for these different shapes? So like Christina said, the Spanish word for square.
So we would have the class look at a book about shapes from another country potentially, and even bring in people from the community that may be able to help teach those shapes in different languages to start building a connection between the words that we have here in English and words of another country, because right now there is also that huge push of foreign languages and how essential they are at these early ages. We would also be having them learn the languages so that they can expand their own vocabulary. In addition to expanding their own vocabulary, they would be able to potentially start to understand root words.
And for our resources, we have a couple websites that connect to building pictures with the shapes, and also have a read aloud on YouTube, as well as Illumination's website where you can play games that have shapes.